I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Even if the Shredder's still out there, no matter what he throws at us, no matter how he messes with our lives, nothing he does will change the most important thing, that we're family.
Leo, that was off the charts on the Sapo-meter. You've been watching way too many after-school specials, bro.
Just eat your s'mores and keep quiet, Mikey. Leo's got a point. You are so dead, laughing boy.
Watch the graham crackers! Cut it out! Pile on!
Well, it's definitely a family. But do you think we'll ever be able to teach the kids some manners?
Miss O'Neill, teaching them the ancient art of ninjutsu is hard enough. I am afraid even I cannot work miracles.
Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to another video. This is a paid request, this time for Lucas. First off, thank you so much, Lucas, for being very generous. I really do appreciate that. If anyone wants to request pretty much any type of video, review, topic, reaction, random, playing a game, just whatever, anything, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this is for Season 2 of the 2003 Ninja Turtles cartoon. Now, I have reviewed Season 1. That is on the channel. This is, of course, not an official Blu-ray. This is something I bought online. Best thing I ever bought, in my opinion, because you will never see an official release. Great set. One of my prized possessions now, because again, this is a show that will never get an official release because this was done by a company. The company's called 4Kids. I'm not sure if you can see it right there, 4Kids. It went about 7 seasons, went from 2003 till around 2009. They also had a movie called Turtles Forever, which now people shit on. That's fine. I remember me and many others liking it. Think it's great. But now they did shit on because of, well, how the 80s Turtles are treated. It's meant as a joke, but whatever. Okay. Anyway, I'm not going to get on that subject. I will say, though, I think this is a very underrated show. I think it's a criminally underrated show. I watched this when it first aired on TV. Being a Ninja Turtles fan, I'm like, wow, they're making a new show? Cool. And then being impressed by, wow, this is more serious. This is definitely more action-packed. And yet, it's still a kid's show. There's still plentiful, lighthearted moments. But there are times where it's serious, or it's dark, or it's a bit gritty. And those moments I do appreciate. I mean, in the next season or two, you have the episode Same as It Never Was, where there's an alternate future where Shredder took over the world. Raph has one eye, Mikey's missing an arm, Leo's blind, Splinter's dead, and the older turtles die by the end, except the younger Donatello, and he literally destroys Shredder, and then goes back from his alternate dimension to, you know, the real one, the current, you know, his dimension, I should say. That's pretty serious, pretty dark episode, and there's other episodes that do that. And the entire series is not that. It's not like his Batman animated series. But the fact that they're going in that direction, the fact that they're going for that route, the fact that Peter Laird, one of the two comic book creators who did these characters' life back in the day, he had a big hand in producing the show. And a lot of the episodes are based, granted sometimes loosely based, but still based on comic book issues. That's a great direction. That's a great step in the right direction. But nowadays, they just went back tenfold into much more comedy, much more goofy. The Turtles love pizza. Don't you see how much they love pizza? They love pizza. And then you get the Michael Bay produced monstrosities, the mongoloid looking Michelin men, DSL lips, fucktard pieces of trash shit that Michael Bay produced. Even the cat wants to fucking claw. See, he heard me talk about the Michael Bay produced stuff, and he's clawing the fucking door like, shut the fuck up about it. I'm sorry, I will not talk about it anymore. Or the Rise of the TMNT, Rise of the Taints, more like it. That new show that I think has already been canceled for good fucking reason. Just a shitty comedy, shitty animation, shitty designs, shitty everything. Fuck that show. But like every franchise is in the trash. Let's be honest. Terminator, Star Wars, Star Trek, Alien, Predator, RoboCop. What franchise isn't in the trash? They're all in the fucking trash. They've all been trashed. It's like their fucking job now is just to trash every franchise. Because you're just a stupid consumer. You'll eat it up. Yeah, fuck you. But anyway, this went from 2003 to around 2009, but then Nickelodeon bought the rights to the Turtles themselves, and this got absorbed into that, and then Nickelodeon decided to do nothing with it. You could release DVD sets, you could release Blu-ray sets, season sets, complete collection. No, they haven't done one fucking thing, and apparently they never will. Because Nickelodeon sucks dick. Nickelodeon is a piece of shit. Fuck Nickelodeon. So, but yeah, this show, it's completely forgotten, and I don't know why. I mean, I have ideas as to why. Because when you don't release it, you released it on these bare bones DVDs back in the day, the 4Kids did, that's like 3-4 episodes a piece, which was stupid. Should have just released season sets to begin with. Then they were going to do season sets, then they got bought out. So too little, too late. And then Nickelodeon did nothing with it, and if Nickelodeon doesn't do anything with it, they never talk about it, they never promote it. No one ever talks about it. So it gets completely forgotten. It gets bypassed. And it's fucking ridiculous. Pisses me off. Because I think the people who did the show did a great job. They did a great job. They should be commended for it. And there's so much other crap that gets the status quo, they get the merit that, in my opinion, they don't fucking deserve. Again, that sucks. Cat, I'm not talking about the Michael Bay movies. Relax. One second. What is your deal, Cat? I'm not talking about the Michael Bay movies. This is the cat in question. Alright? Can I talk now? Alright. Now, the TMNT Season 2 of 2003 cartoon, I think is another worthy season of the show. You know, the first season, I thought they did a great job establishing the tone they were going for. This one, it starts off with a 5-part arc, and that's the thing, is that they did a lot of arcs. Okay, now you want to leave. Okay. You just want to get on camera, that's what it was. That's what it was, you just wanted to be on camera. Camera hog, cameo. Because I've never been on fucking... And sorry about that. And sorry if you saw me in my shorts, because, of course, we had a deep freeze for a week, and now it's hot as fuck. So that's Texas. Texas! Yay! So, but yeah, that's fucking Texas. So yeah, I had me... Go from deep freeze, where you need 80 things of clothing, and now it's hot as fuck. So you're in shorts, t-shirt, and it's still hot as fuck. Again, it's Texas. Climate change. So, it's like 9 minutes in. Can I get to the season? But like I said, this is a season that definitely had a lot of arcs. I thought that was cool. They started that in season 1, where so the story gets more room to breathe, and they don't just try to put everything in one episode. There are times where it goes on for 4 episodes, or it goes on for 5 episodes. Here's part 1, here's part 2, here's part 3. I like that idea that gives stories more room to breathe. And the way this starts off is a 5-episode arc where they're in space. That's based on the comic books back in the day, the black and white Mirage comics, where they also went into space. As kind of the Star Wars, and there's even Star Wars references in this. I mean, there's a point they're going to an alien bar, and they look over and they see was pretty much Han Solo and Chewie. Granted, changed enough to not get sued, but it's pretty much Han Solo and Chewie. Like, nah, let's go with someone else. Or they're shooting, and it's like, I got him. Don't get cocky, kid. That's reference. So, you know, the Star Wars references were fun. At the end of season 1, we had a cliffhanger where they're in this transporter. They were looking for their father, Splinter. They realized that these Utroms, which is a human-like body, but they have an alien in the middle, looks like a brain, pretty much would be the inspiration for Crane in the 80s cartoon. They're aliens, but they're good guys. And in this season, you find out a bit more about them and how they're linked to the Shredder. But here you find out they've been teleported to another world, very, very far away. And they find this character named the Futuretoid. This robotic character. He talks a little bit like C-3PO. The Futuretoid was in the comic books. And let's just say, like, I remember these comics, and it was nice that, again, it's not going to be word for word based on it, because the comics were much more violent. It's still a kid's show, but still it's nice to get the inspiration from those as well. And like I said, this is a great action show. The Turtles kick a lot of ass. Like, I'm a Raphael fan, and he kicks a lot of ass in this show. And that's one of the many reasons why I enjoy it. He's not a fucking pussy like the 2012 cartoon, where it seemed like someone hated Raphael on that show, because the constant barrage of shit that would happen with him. They go up against these monsters. He's the first to get bit as a vampire. Oh, they're on a farm, and he's the only one that gets turned into a fucking flower. And then Leo, who's been in a coma for like 3 months, boom, he gets out of it, and he's able to kick the monster's ass just like that. And it's like, what the fuck? Oh, he's afraid of riding a horse. Whatever, again, not going to get on that subject. But in this first episode, where they deal with the Fugitoid and these Federation soldiers are chasing them, and they're able to hit the soldier's ass. And not only does it work well in action, there's nice little moments of character throughout the show. For example, Mighty leapfrogs Raph, coming through Slowpoke, and little moments like that give a little bit of seasoning, for the characters. I thought there was a fun moment where they're in this alien sewer, and Mighty looks over and he sees a turtle master and 4 ninja rats walking by, kind of like the opposite versions of them. It's like a nice little throwaway visual gag. And Raph gets to steal a tank, and they're battling all these other tanks. I thought it was a fun... I like the way the alien world looks. I like the way the Futuretoid looks, and I thought the voice actor did a good job working that voice in, so he's not exactly like C-3PO. If you're annoyed by C-3PO, he's not as annoying as C-3PO, but it still works for that design, that look of that robotic entity. And as I said, I thought it was a nice way to start it off, and because this is a 5-part arc, they're able to stretch it out and let it breathe a bit. Like you get into episode 2, they gotta find a way to get off this rock. They go to this alien bar, find some smugglers. They gotta wear these outfits. And an alien actually hits on Mighty and goes, "Are you a library book? Because I'm checking you out." Which I've never heard that line before, but that sounds like a line I should have heard a lot of times. "Are you a library book? Because I'm checking you out." And so Mighty kicks his ass. Again, I like the old Star Wars. These even old Star Trek. Does they get on a ship and Mikey's like, "Warp 9, Mr. Sulu." Yeah, I thought that was fun. I know there's a lot of people that find Mighty annoying in this. I did not. I think as you watch the show, he fits very well for what type of character he's playing. I think he fits well for the situations, the humor. Maybe if you watch one episode, but if you watch it consistently, I think he works fairly well as a character. That's where you're introducing also more of the Triceratons, which I always thought was it's based on the comic book. They had those type of aliens as well, where it's pretty much dinosaur, Triceratop type of aliens that walk and talk. I always thought it was a cool design. Big, massive villains for our characters. And they got laser guns to boot. And each episode is action-packed. The battles, I won't get too detailed to the battles. That's for you to watch, because again, you can watch them on YouTube for free. But you have the battle in the bar, they get on a ship, they still get chased even more so. This poor Mighty gets in the sidecar of the spaceship, and they get broken apart, and Mighty's giving this girly scream, and they all crash down. That leads into the 3rd episode, where they're even more in space. They get captured, and they get put into a space prison. So it becomes a little bit of a prison movie, prison episode. And the devices they give, where they're branded, and if they're out of line, they get electrocuted. So of course Raph pisses them off, and he gets electrocuted for it. But someone wants Raph's food, and Raphael, again, he's a badass in this. He's like, "No, I'm not giving you my food." He beats the fuck out of the guy. Which is how Raphael should be, not a fucking pussy like the 2012 cartoon. Or some leader who's a fucking idiot, bumbling dipshit, like Rise of the Team and Rise of the fucking Taints. Rise of the Testicles, whatever the fuck you want to call that new show that's now canceled. Good. God forbid I want Raphael to be a fucking badass. He's a badass on the show. I know it's weird idea. But there's also humor involved, like they're getting food and Mighty thinks he's getting food, but you realize he's eating the wrong food, he's eating floor wax, which looks almost the same as the food they're supposed to eat. And in order to escape, they force feed Mighty more of them, so he's sick, legitimately sick, in order to get out of there. There's even a reference to the Tick, because they give weapons they can find, and Raph can find spoons. It's like, spoon! Which is an ode to the Tick. If you don't know the Tick, it was a cartoon. Pretty much, there were 2 live-action shows, now that I think about it. There's one back in the day, and then there was one on Amazon, which I didn't see. But yeah, one of the things they would go is spoon. It's a... I remember being the old show, like the entertainment of comic book superheroes. And one thing leads to another, they're taken to the games, and they leads to episode 4, where they're pretty much in this arena, and they find this tentacle creature. And throughout the show, there's a lot of nice shots of animation. Like in this episode where Raph's running, and then the tentacle creature's right behind him, and you see the background going faster and faster. There are times where it's in full screen, and then it'll turn to widescreen for certain important moments. I thought that, again, it gave a nice flavor, nice artistic... You could tell that the people behind this were not just shoving this out there for, and you do what you want. They really took the love and time into this. They really did. And that's why, again, pisses me off that this show is such forgotten, because it deserves so much more than it gets. Including the people who voiced the characters, because I think the people who voiced the Turtles did a great job. The people who... Even the guy who voices Casey Jones, I thought he did a good job. The animation directors, they all should be commended, and they don't get any respect. That pisses me off. And then they're forced to fight other slaves there, other warriors. They even fight other Triceratons. They kick their ass. You introduce a new character, Traximus, who is a Triceraton, but he's a good guy and a slave. I like that character. He pops up every once in a while throughout the series. I thought that was a nice addition. There's a nice action scene where the guards tell the other slaves to fight them, and I'm on these benches and training area, and they look after their own, the turtles, and they watch each other's backs. That's the thing, you really get the camaraderie and the family unit in this as well, where they're really watching each other's backs, and it does seem like each of the turtle is important. It's not like one is put out the pasture and completely forgotten or deemed useless. And that's what I think this show does a good job with all 4 of the characters, given the respect that they deserve and that they need. And in fact, I'm going to put on a ceiling fan because it's a bit too hot in here. I don't need this, because there's enough light. There we go. But anyway, oh great, even the webcam is slowing down. Come on. Alright. That was like the 3rd time I'm having to record this, and even now I get a cat, or it's too damn hot, or something else going on. Now webcam's slowing down. What the fuck? Can you calm down, webcam, please? For fuck's sake. I even have it on frame rate, not on exposure. Fuck's sake. Anyway. Yeah, the last part of the 5-part Turtles in Space arc is... They get the leader, they're able to get out of there, get to his ship, pretty much get to his teleporter. There's fighting in space. That's where you get the oh, don't get cocky, kid. That another ode to Star Wars. And I'm being somewhat vague on these episodes because I don't want to give every single thing away. Because I do want people to check out the show if you're a Ninja Turtles fan. If you're at all a fan, even a little bit, I want people to check out this show. It deserves more than it's gotten. And I thought that this 5-part episode was a great way to begin Season 2. Now next up is a 3-part called Secret Origins. Sadly, of the arcs that got multiple episodes, this one was the less interesting. I don't think it needed 3 parts, maybe 2 parts. Pretty much, they've gone back with the Utroms. They've gone back to their time, to Earth. Splinter is safe. You know more and more that the Utroms are the good guys. Hey, instead of just telling you what the deal is, we want to show you in this VR that we have. So going to these pods, and Mikey says, I don't know of any sci-fi film where a pod is good. And also like, well, we're not going to have anything burst from our chests, are we? That's an ode to Alien. Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. But in the pods, they're given the history of the Utroms. There was this prisoner, he escaped, they crashed down to Earth during the time of feudal Japan. They had to figure out how to mimic themselves among humans. But Bachelor Stobman comes in, he's screwing everything up. Get to part 2. Now in the VR world, things are real and they can really get hurt. You get some battles. I do like the nice character moment when Mikey is safe. He was hurt before in the previous episode, and Raph using like a friendly nudie. There's a little moments like that. It's nice to establish the emotional connection of the characters. Does that? I mean, that could be something that goes under the radar, and but yeah, it's nice to see little moments like that. Being a big fan of these characters. And then when you get to part 3, they get back out of the pods, out of the VR world, but Shredder is now alive. It's like, wait a minute, we cut his head off. Leo cut his head off. How is he still alive? If you follow it, you pretty much can guess what's going on. So I would say it's predictable. But yeah, as it goes on, the room has nerve endings. I like this idea where the turtles are trapped in this room, but because of the Trump technology, the room actually has nerve endings. Like the room is actually alive. So they're able to mess with it in order to, in essence, get puked out. And that's an interesting idea. April, in case you're outside, there's an ode to the 80s cartoon where April's like, let me go in there as a reporter and dress it up in yellow as a reporter. And that was a nice ode to the old show. Like I said, I don't know if this needed 3 parts. Maybe you could get it all in 1 episode. Maybe 2, 3 is stretching it. And really, at the end of the day, you just find out the Utroms, they crashed, feudal Japan, and you find out that the Shredder is an Utrom. He's that prisoner from back in the day. I know a lot of people got pissed off about that. A lot of people got mad. What, the Shredders and da-da-da? In cartoon form, I think it works. In cartoon form, to do something a little bit differently. It's funny, people keep saying, don't just do the same thing over and over again, then you do something different, then people get pissed. I thought the way it was handled, I thought the way it was built up, I thought the way the Shredder acts, which is intimidating. I would say of all the iterations of Shredder, this is one that's definitely the most intimidating, most dangerous Shredder, in my opinion. Look-wise, what he's able to do, what he's willing to do. I don't know, when it happened, I just wasn't bothered by it. I can't put it any other way. It just didn't bother me. It would bother me if the turtles were aliens. Like the one idea they had, stupid idea they had for the Michael Bay produced movies. They're from another world. I'm like, what the fuck are you smoking, Michael Bay? That I would have a problem with. Oh, but you had a problem when they said William Fichtner would be Shredder. Because I don't buy William Fichtner as a martial artist. Yes, I would like Shredder to be a fucking martial artist. If you told me fucking Dolph Lundgren or Jeff Speedman was Shredder, I'd be like, okay. I thought he was Japanese, but okay, Jeff Speedman's Dolph Lundgren. I'm willing to go with it. But not William Fichtner. But yeah, that's the least of, you know, that movie's problems. But yeah, it didn't bother me. It didn't bother me at all. So yeah, beat Stretcher for 3 episodes. Don't think it was needed. There are times where April and Taser are outside. You have these military guys. The military guys are very over the top with the very over the top accents. What are you doing there, little laddie? We can't go in there. So yeah, after the very strong 5-part Turtles in Space arc, I thought kind of a lesser arc. There's still a lot of good moments, battles within the VR world. Certain lines Mighty says. When they find out Shredder is an Utrom, Raph toss trash to him, and then the Utrom Shredder grabs Raph's face, and Mighty's like, get him out of there, otherwise he's going to burst out a bunch of baby Shredders. Then a little old dialogue-wise to Alien. That was nice. So, like I said, I can watch it. It's fine. I just... 3 episodes I don't think was needed for that. Episode 9, Reflections. Pretty much a clip show. People might not even know what a clip show is. Clip show, a lot of times, both live action and animation, if they were given a big season, they're like, wow, we don't have the manpower, the time to do fully animated or fully film every one of these episodes. Is there a way we could get a break? And also, more so back in the day, there were no things as DVDs, and if you want to see clips that you enjoyed, you'd have to wait for a clip show. Hey, remember this moment? Remember this moment? Nowadays, they don't do it because it's pointless. It's like, hey, if people want to see that, they just go on streaming and rewatch it. Or go buy the DVD or Blu-ray. But so it was a bit weird doing it in, what was like 2004. So yeah, so you pretty much the Turtles, they're relaxing on the farmhouse. They're reminiscing about certain stuff. So they reminisce about when Leo met Shredder and Shredder wanted to bring him to the dark side, which they even make that joke. Or the times they fought the Shredder, things of that nature. I still thought it was a show. It was still an episode worth watching because it still had some nice moments with the Turtles. I mean, the way it begins, some really cool animation of showing them fighting enemies in the dark, in blackness, and then they're in the palm of Shredder's hand, and it pulls out. Again, really nice piece of animation. Again, Mighty doing, join me, Leonardo, I'm your father. Doing an old Vader with the clip I mentioned. I like the way the episode ends where, you know, Leo gives his speech and then Mikey goes, wow, you've been watching too many after-school specials. And then Raph's like, eat your s'mores. That might be a clip I might put at the beginning of this video. Because I thought that was a nice way of establishing, you know, the family unit in this. And the way the characters interact with each other. So, the end of Reflections I might put at the beginning of this video. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, again, one of the reasons why I enjoy the show is how the characters interact with each other, and they do feel like a family. So I do appreciate that. So I mean, it's not much to talk about. It's a clip show, but like I say, it's still worth a watch for the moments that aren't clips. You know, there's still some nice pieces with the family unit. Episode 10, The Ultimate Ninja. I thought this was a pretty decent Leonardo episode where this figure wants to find Leo and hunt him down. The Turtles are watching this western where the younger punk wants to take on the older sheriff to make a name for himself. They enjoy the movie. They go out for a run for ice cream and such. I did use some nice pieces of animation, like a knife's thrown at Leonardo and he turns and he grabs it. Like this. And pretty much this figure wants to challenge him to a one-on-one duel. And that's what it is. The other turtles are trapped in this force field, say, nope, you can't mess with it. This figure offered a challenge. Either you don't do it and everyone dies, or you do it and maybe you win, maybe you die. That's what I mean. So there are stakes raised during the show, which I appreciated. I appreciate that aspect. And like I said, I liked how Leo was fighting this guy throughout the park, on top of a semi-truck, on top of a bridge. And like I said, if you like Leonardo, this definitely shows a lot of badass moments with him. This is a nice showcase of his characters, really nice animation done, went at a fast pace. I mean, each of these episodes is like 20 minutes long. So, like I said, worthy episode. Funny enough, I think this debuted on Valentine's Day in 2004. I guess that's just how it came out. Episode 11, The Return of Nano. There's an episode in Season 1, Nano, where this nanotechnology became its own entity, wanted a father figure, found this thief who became a father figure to him, but taught him wrong, so was stealing shit. The Turtles had to stop him, thought they stopped him, the thief went to jail. I didn't think you needed a sequel to that. I thought that told the story as is. I mean, there's no episodes I hated. It's just like, it's not really needed. Like I said, at least with each episode, I can appreciate, even the lesser ones, I can appreciate some stuff with the family unit. Like, at this point, April's living with them because her shop got blown up in the first season. And they keep doing stuff that piss her off. Like, they accidentally splash water at her, or they accidentally knock her down. They also build up the little love story between April and Casey. So it's nice that they build that up so it does lead to something. It's not like the 2012 cartoon where is April going to be with Casey? No, April going to be with Donnie? No, they're not. They don't make up their fucking mind. Okay, if April wants to be with Donnie, Donatello, fine. Commit to it. But they don't. But yeah, Nano comes back to life, watches this TV from back in the day, where almost like a Leave It to Beaver, like that type of show, where there's the mom, there's the dad, and there's the kid, and pretty much this figure wants a family. So he breaks the thief out of jail, gets the scientist from the first time we saw this character, gets her, wants them to be his mom and dad, and in a funny way did something that, from what I understand, was done in WandaVision, where Wanda, created this almost sitcom family unit in her mind. This Nano does it too, where he has this house, and he's created like this, the way it looks, more like a black and white, more like an old sitcom, and the Nano is acting like a kid, reiterating lines from that sitcom, and wants him to be his mom and dad, and of course that doesn't work out. Like, that was an interesting idea. I'll say, that was an interesting idea. But he gets pissed, fucks up an amusement park, the Turtles get there. I do like the line by Casey where Donatello gets April to help him with something, and Casey's like, hey, that sneaky little green nerd stole my date. Pretty much they create an EMP pulse. Stop it again. Like I said, the Nano, I think you got all that you wanted storyline-wise in the episode from Season 1. I don't think there's really a yearning for the return of that character. I don't think that character ever returns again. So I guess they learned, yeah, no more. What a Crock. Which is funny for a cartoon to name an episode What a Crock. But that's the introduction of Leatherhead, which you think he dies, but he shows up quite a few times later on the show. Season 3 and more so. And, you know, that was nice to see. Leatherhead is an interesting character where he gets these rage-filled moments, but when he's calmed down, he's much more of an intellectual. Pretty much the introduction of that character. I like the way the episode begins, just Raph is snoring and Mighty gets more and more pissed off about it. And even though Mighty yells at him, Raph doesn't do anything, he just keeps on snoring. Yeah, I like that moment. The reason I liked it is because, you know, Mighty is always annoying Raph, so it's nice to see the flip side where inadvertently Raph is annoying Mighty. You know, sort of Mighty getting a taste of his own medicine. By the way, they battle, they find this crocodile in their pool in their lair. They follow him, it's Leatherhead. But of course he's working with Buster Stockman, and Leatherhead doesn't know any better. Stockman's, I guess we call him Metalhead. I like the scene where it mimics each of the turtles' movements, so it fights them beat for beat. I like the idea that Raphael gets the idea, well, let's do something a little bit differently and use different weapons. So Raph's like, can I borrow this? And takes Leo's sword and starts fighting it. Donnie takes Raph's size and he can't quite flip the sai well, but he's able to throw the other one. And again, it was cool to see the turtles fight with different weapons. Ran for a little bit, but that was cool to see. And it's animated very nicely. Again, things work out. They defeat the Thing. You think Leatherhead dies. He doesn't. Which is nice to see that character later on. Not in Season 2, but in Season 3 you would not see him. And again, I like the character. I like the design of Leatherhead. And episode was enjoyable. I don't really have much issues with it. Return to the Underground. At the end, it's a sequel to episodes from the first season. At least this makes a little bit more sense as a sequel, because in those episodes, the way that ended in Season 1 was these people are still trapped underground. If they go to a certain point, they turn to monsters. And Donatello even promises, I'm going to come back one day and help you guys out. At least they do follow up with that. They don't just completely forget about it. Because you don't know how many times there'll be a show that brings something up and then completely forget about it. And you go, whatever happened to that? But at least, like, that's a sequel that makes a bit more sense. So they go back down there. They have to fight these creatures again. Donnie has these devices, like, they're able to swim through lava in this vehicle. You know, the creatures of the battles are fine. They're able to give them the cure. You know, that story's been told, ended. So it's nice to see a culmination of those episodes from the first season. There is a finale to that, which is nice to see. And then you get to one of the better arcs of the season, City of War. Because of the apparent death of the Shredder at the end of Suitured Origins. Now there's all these other game members, the Purple Dragons, the Foot Clan, the mobsters, all fighting each other. And Raph is like, it's not our deal, but Leo's like, it is our deal, this is our fault. Hey, you know, Raph is like, hey, this isn't our problem, let the cops deal with it. You know, them arguing with each other. Leo's like, no, we gotta do something, we gotta help in some way. Along with all these bad guys fighting with each other. And when you watch all three of these episodes back to back, there's a lot of action. You know, Leo saves some guys. There's a nice shot where the building's ready to explode. He jumps out and You see like the POV of the glass and Leo jumping through the glass as it explodes. That's a really cool moment. Probably my favorite bit is there's a point where Donatello, there's a lot of bad guys around him, and Donatello looks around, he goes, wait a minute, I got a bow staff, there's a bunch of guys looking the same, oh, it's time to try out one of my favorite movie stunts. It's the scene in Matrix Reloaded. So he tries to do that, and it screws up, it doesn't quite work out. But I thought that was cool that they did an ode to Matrix Reloaded, and that Donnie happens to be a big fan of that. Which makes sense because Matrix Reloaded came out in 2003, and then this was in 2004. Again, that was just one of my sort of like favorite like cute moments for Donatello, to try out a move from Matrix Reloaded, but it just didn't quite work out. Then Raphael comes in and it's like, let me show you how you do this, and then he beats the fuck out of them. 1, 2, 3, class dismissed. Like showing Donnie, no, this is what you do. Just go basic. And just punches the shit out of all of them. Like I said, that's one of my favorite moments of that episode. Oh, this is also when you're introduced to Karai, who's kind of Shredder's daughter, but like, adopted daughter. But it seems like she has much more honor compared to Shredder. And you get in the part 2, Leo's like, okay, we'll trust you. And Raph's like, what the fuck are you doing? That goes in more to part 3. Like, part 2, I would say part 2, I wish more was done with that episode. It's pretty much, there's a lot of fighting with Stockman, this robot Baxter Stockman made, and the Foot Clan, and like they're saving people from this bus. You get a bit of warfare. Then they hide in this water tower. Then they're fighting Karai a bit. I don't know. I guess I was hoping more for the Turtles, like this big old battle with them fighting some combination of mobsters, dragons, like fighting all of them. Because that'd be the ultimate. This is not the ultimate City of War storyline. Let's be fair. The ultimate City of War storyline, I don't know if you could tell that in a cartoon form for kids. I think you would have to tell that in a movie form that was rated R. Or because you want blood and guts. But with the way MPA, you never hear of them nowadays. I think they're just the MPAs. A friend of mine was telling me, I think they took the America from the MPA. So it's not just, it's just MPA. Okay. So you don't really hear about them much. But what I'm saying is, people get mad if it's Conjuring. Conjuring, there's nothing in that that's rated R. It's rated R because it's too intense. So yeah, that's just how things are nowadays. Well, it's been like that forever. What am I talking about? Like if you took, say, the Walter Hill's The Warriors, that type of story with the Turtles, put them in that. That'd be another step closer to what City of War should really be. Or, you know what? The ending of Death Wish 3. They let you take the Warriors, the ending of Death Wish 3, and some other stuff. There's more of the City of War. But I do think they could have fought more of the other folks, like the mobsters. They don't fight a lot of the mobsters, the purple dragons. I think they could have done a bit more with that. Just my opinion. So yeah, City of War Part 2, I think there's a lot more fighting they could have done with other different gang members. But City of War Part 3, like I said, they make the deal with Karai. Raph doesn't like this, so he's like, fuck this, and he leaves. And Karai has this plan to pretend to be the Shredder. So a lot of them arrive in the same location. Oh, Shredder's back. Okay, calm down. There's going to be some order. They find out it's really Karai. This big battle begins. They think everything's, oh shit, things aren't going to work out. And then someone throws a ninja star, blows up Hun's. Hun is like this big guy who is a supporter of Shredder. Blows up his bazooka, and then all the smoke appears, and someone's fighting all this foot in the smoke, and out comes Raphael. I thought, again, as a fan of the character, that's a nice badass moment for him. He's brought Splinter along, and they kicked everybody's ass. Again, I know I'm not going to specific detail, because I want people to check this stuff out, and I don't want to give every single thing away. So the City of War, I do wish they fought more the mobsters and the Purple Dragon, those other types. It's mostly them fighting the Foot Clan. And yeah, I think that the Turtles themselves could have fought more of the other types of bad guys. That would be more of the City of War that I would truly want. But I still thought this was a fairly fun 3-part arc. And it's still rather entertaining. And I still rather enjoyed it for what it is. A lot of nice, cool, badass moments for our characters. Episode 17, I would say this was my least favorite episode, called Junklantis. It's an episode, it's a sequel to a season 1 episode where they dealt with this guy named the Garbage Man. It's mainly just Donatello and Mikey. Mainly just them in the episode, where Donatello's made this submarine device. They go through the ocean, they're having fun, but then they find this stuff at the bottom of the ocean. What's going on? Oh, it's the Garbage Man has this high-tech place under the sea, and they want to sink a cruise ship. And Donnie and Mikey has to stop them. Just the Garbage Man is not an interesting villain. I was fine with him the first time I saw him. I did not need to see a repeat of that character. I really did not. I didn't give a shit about him that much to see a repeat. It's a Donnie and Mikey episode. I think they did the best they could, but I didn't care about the story. I didn't care about what was going on. I didn't care about the villain. It's funny, they did a Donnie and Mikey episode. I'm thinking, why didn't they do a Raph and Mikey episode? I thought that was weird. They never did a Raph and Mikey episode. I think they did maybe one in the last season, which was like, but like all these years they didn't do a Raph and Mikey episode. I never understood that. You would think that'd be... they would come naturally. Guess not. But yeah, that episode I just couldn't give a rat's ass about, honestly. Yeah, that just didn't care one bit. Like I said, is the story... the Garbage Man character wasn't that cool of a villain in the first place. Even less so here. The fact that you don't have Leo and Raph and makes it less interesting to me. I like Mikey and Donnie, but I don't know. The others were greatly missed. And it just wasn't for me. The Golden Puck, a lesser episode, but I did enjoy this more than Junklantis, because it's definitely more of a Casey Jones episode. He has some stuff to do in this. Just him and the Turtles watch his hockey game. I like that the Turtles, they have, for disguise, they have a hockey mask as well, each one of them. These bad guys steal this statue, this gold, which is a golden puck. Casey's very pissed off about that. He goes after them. The Turtles follow them. I like that there's a snowmobile chase. You don't see that every day. I like the bit where Raph follows the bad guys to the subway, gets shot down. I thought that was nicely done. And then they're wondering, are you okay? And they lift Raph and he growls. And then Mikey's like, oh, he's okay. I thought that was a funny bit there. And it went by a fast pace. Nice moments with the characters. Nice badass moments with my fave, Raphael. There's this car chase where Casey's driving and Raph and Leo are on top of the truck, and Raph flies back onto the bad guy's windshield. So he turns around and he punches right through the windshield to fuck up the car, and then gets back on. I thought that was a nice moment. All the Turtles fight the bad guys at the end on a hockey rink using hockey sticks. At least they weren't wearing hockey pads. And in a fun episode, yeah. It's a bit weird because he had some very serious episodes, like City of War. And now we've gone to an episode where were chasing after guys who stole a golden puck. Give a bit of a weird shifting of tone in a way. Like City of War. Then like 2 episodes later, oh, save this golden puck. Like the story sounds like a story that would be in the 80s cartoon. But I like the way it was done. I like the way it was, I almost said filmed, but animated. And there's some fun action bits. Like there's a snowmobile chase scene. The battle at the end on the hockey rink. I still like the episode. And it was cool to see Casey Jones have a bit to do in this one. This 2-part episode, some of the lesser ones. Rogue in the House, Part 1 and Part 2. Pretty much Shredder's still alive. Karai is a bit of a turncoat because she's healing the Shredder. Meanwhile, the Turtles find one of those Triceratons, and he's delusional, and he's a guy named Zod. I like that character. I thought he was the best part of this 2-part episode, where he's so delusional he doesn't understand what's going on, but he thinks the Turtles are commanding officers, so he listens to them. I like the idea that they fight this fake mecha splinter, mechanical splinter that Stockman came up with. Brings the Turtles take Zod. They find that the bad guys are on the ship. The bad guys are building all these robot assassins. Goes into Part 2. You did quite a bit of fighting. You find out Karai isn't as bad as we think she is. Zod just has some fun moments. Even beats up that big guy Hun. And, you know, I say it's lesser, but to be honest, it's kind of like they did a build-up in Part 1, and then Part 2, that's where you get a lot more of the action. So at least there's that, and there's some entertaining portions of that during the fight sequences. And characters do die. You know, Zod does take the Shredder. They both go into this fire, and Zod does die. So there are characters that do die in the show. Zod in particular. Of course, Shredder's not dead. He's never dead, but at least you got that. So I like the Zod character. I like some of the fighting. You know, the previous episode, the Part 1, like I said, the introduction of Zod, the fake mechanical splinter, interesting idea. I was wondering if you need 2 episodes for this. I guess it's alright. It's alright. It just really doesn't bring a whole lot to the table, other than the delusional Triceraton Zod. There's really not much else that stands out compared to other episodes where they fought the Shredder. And, okay, now it's getting darker for some reason, so now I gotta do this. Yeah, I think that's the thing. It doesn't do a whole lot to differentiate itself. I mean, it was fine, but I don't think it was anything that stood out. You have April's artifact, which is a nice showcase for April O'Neil, because she finds this artifact that her uncle left. Her and the Turtles get transported to this other dimension, where there's these hornet type of bugs that they sting you, they paralyze you for a bit. And like I said, it's a nice showcase of April. The Turtles kind of get weirded out that she's turned more into, you know, a jungle lady, where she's really getting into all this, and the Turtles kind of make fun of her for it. This is one of those instances, they do like a montage, and they put like a song in there, and the songs aren't really that great. Like I've said before, I'll say it again, I think the worst aspect of the show is the music. I think the score isn't the best. The score's not too good. In particular, the theme, like the Turtles theme, I think is horrible. I think if there's anything that makes it feel like a kid's show the most, it's the music. But the music is kind of what makes you keep coming back to, okay, it's a kid's show. I think the score, if there's a way to redo the music, redo the score, I would love to see it. I would love to hear it. Because I do think the most detrimental part of the show is the store. So, and then like they have this little montage with them getting ready to fight these bugs and to go on their journey, and they have this song playing. The songs aren't really that good. And like obviously I don't know. Is that the first time they did that too? I think in I think the first part of City of War, Leo and Raph are racing on the rooftops, and you have another song. And I don't know, they rather sucked in my opinion. So I'm not going to kiss everything in the show's ass. I do think the music and songs suck, but I like most of the other aspects of the show. Like I said, they're fighting the bugs. April, like I said, just a nice showcase. Defeats the Hornet Queen. They all get back. Things work out fine. Return the Justice Force. Another thing where in the first season, Mighty met one superhero. Now the other Turtles meet other different superheroes. It's nice that the other Turtles got in on this. It wasn't just Mighty yet again. It was the other Turtles. Bit weird seeing them in a world where superheroes exist. But that is the universe in this. Because Mighty's a big comic book fan. Oh, I gotta find this issue of comic. Them and Casey go up to this comic book. They find out that the comic book is owned by an actual superhero. It's actually a superhero that Mighty was reading. It's like, wow, you're a lot older. He doesn't say this, but we can see he's much fatter too. But some of the other heroes are being taken, and so the Turtles team up with these guys. You find out that the villain is the daughter of this female hero that died while she was with the team. She's mad. She wants revenge. By the end, you also find out she's the daughter of one of the other male heroes. He doesn't know this until then. So I just like the idea of, by the end, she does forgive her dad, and just sort of a little sweet thing about it. I don't know, it was interesting seeing the Turtles fight with actual superheroes. It's not the first time, but again, just interesting little dynamic. And the other superheroes, like one's like a small guy, but he's got like metal spikes in his hair they can shove into things. One's like Mr. Fantastic, he could stretch, and one, even though he's in a wheelchair, he could go super fast like the Flash. It was a episode that was fine. There's really nothing to get mad about. But I would say this is a season that started off and ended very strong. Well, I guess that's the best way to put it. It's the very beginning, the very middle, the very end, you get fairly strong stuff. The Turtles in Space 5-piece of the biscuit 5-episode arc, the City of War 3-episode arc, and then this finale, which is a 4-episode arc called the Big Brawl. And yes, some episodes in between that are either, oh, it's okay, or not too bad, or so-so. Yeah, I didn't realize the stronger episodes are the ones that get more room to breathe. I didn't like the Turtles in Space, City of War, the Big Brawl. Like this one, what I like about this, it brings up the idea of the Battle Nexus, which is this dimensional fighting tournament. In fact, I would love to see a movie about that. I would love to see a movie with the Turtles going into this dimensional fighting tournament. Be like Mortal Kombat or something. I think that'd be pretty cool. But pretty much they notice Splinter's acting funny. They followed him, and they think, oh my god, what's going on here? And they find they're in the midst of this tournament. Like, they fight these big stick guys, beat their ass. they've seen Splinter fighting someone, they're ready to help, but you realize, no, Splinter and this guy are friends, and they're fighting to go further into the tournament. And even the guy tells, oh, you don't know about your dad, what he did? Oh, man, let me tell you, he won the Battle Nexus tournament before, and he even had a broken leg. And then Mikey said, wow, it's like finding out your dad is Superman. So there's a nice introduction to this idea of the Battle Nexus. And then to get episode 2 actually doing the Battle Nexus. And the people heading it up is the Damio and his son. His son was that ninja guy that fought Leo before in the Ultimate Ninja episode. So he makes a comeback. And he's pretending he's a good guy, but he's a fucking schmuck. You also introduced to Usagi Yojimbo, the Ronin, the samurai who's a rabbit. I always liked that character. I always thought, like, where's his series? Like, where's his movie? Like, why can't we have an Usagi Yojimbo movie? You know, a series Ronin samurai who's also this rabbit creature. Pretty badass. And he respects Leonardo, and he helps the turtles out. I'm like, why don't we have more of this guy? Why can't we get much more of this guy? Now, he made an appearance in the 80s cartoon, you know, in the comic books, here. Let's get him in a movie, for fuck's sake. I really want to see an Usagi movie. I really do. And you see, you know, the fights going on during the tournament, and it's cool to see all these different types of creatures and monsters, aliens. The designs, each one is very unique and different compared to the other. And you have each of the turtles fighting some of these monsters, or the monsters fighting themselves. And it goes on like a martial arts tournament type. And Donnie is the first to get out of the turtles, and he's pissed. He's, oh man, I can't believe I'm the first one. Man, the guys find out they're never going to let me live it down. And, you know, the turtles, Mighty, Splinter lets Mighty win. His, hey, if you don't be happy, son, I want to see if you make it, be happy. And Traximus, he makes a comeback from the Turtles in Space arc. It was cool to see him again, the Triceratops, who's a good guy. And Raphael beats him in the tournament. But then Leo gets darted, he gets drugged. That goes into part 3, where Donnie and Usagi are taking care of Leo. Raph and Mighty don't know that yet, because they're part of the tournament still. So it's nice to see that. Mighty does beat Raph, but number one, I get why they did it, because Mighty was known as the long shot, so of course the long shot is going to win, storyline wise. And Raphael's reaction is pretty damn funny, because Mighty uses Raph's temper against him, so Raph beats himself ultimately, and Raph's like, what, I lost? So he grabs a guy. Is like, what if he wins this thing? And he grabs this poor alien, and he's bashing him against the wall. Man, if he wins, he's never gonna let me live it down. And someone like calm down, and the guy, the alien, like gets knocked out and falls to the ground. I thought that was one of the funniest things in the show. Just the way he's like, he's never gonna let me down. Again, that's a nice moment for the character. But it's true to the character. He pretty much accidentally knocks the fucking guy out by bashing him against the fucking wall again and again. And again, you also get nice action with whether during the tournament or Donnie and Usagi protecting Leo. This Ultimate Ninja is behind it all with this figure named Draco, who Splinter fought back in the day. He's a creature Splinter fought with a broken leg back in the day. And it culminates in part 4 where Donatello and Usagi are fighting these assassins. Raph gets with Traximus, they rescue Splinter. Leo wakes up and starts helping out. Mighty accidentally wins the tournament. Because all this stuff happens. Everyone's groggy. Mikey's trying to get his nunchuck out. Accidentally knocks the guy down. I won. I thought the way it ended where he keeps, oh, I'm the winner. You see, Raph? Oh, you won by luck. Oh, really? Well, I remember beating you. That wasn't luck, was it? And Raph gets pissed and just jumps Mikey, beating the shit out of him. And that's the way the season ends. You know, a nice fun moment with the characters. A entertaining arc filled with action and tournaments. And again, Usagi Yojimbo, nice to see him on there. I thought the way he was voiced, the way he looked, the design, really cool. Again, let's have a movie about him. And then that'd be really cool to see. Be really neat, really different. Like I say, the characters utilized as well as it could be. You know, Mikey just... Yeah, I'm a Raphael fan, so it's not fair, but I was like, more Raph. Which I know is not fair to the other characters, but again, I can only speak for myself. I'm always like, more. I get why they let Mikey win the tournament, but I was like, I kind of wish Raph won, but I get why they did that. And like I said, ultimately, it's a fun season. I would say I probably liked season 1 a bit more. I would say season 1 was a bit more consistent in quality, but this is a very worthy season 2. In particular, the way it begins and the way it ends, I think, very strong. Very solid. I mean, if you're asking what my favorite episodes are, the Big Brawl and Turtles in Space story arcs. The way it begins and ends are my favorite parts. And then the City of War stuff. Like, Secret Origins was okay, but I think you could kind of make that into one episode, and then the other two could be, I don't know, something else. Like a Raph and Mighty episode. Let's have a Raph and Mighty episode. Or something to that effect. Or a Raph and Donnie episode, or... Reflections, yeah, it's a clip show, but there's some nice family moments in that. Ultimate Ninja, like I said, a nice... Ultimate Ninja is a nice showcase for Leo. April's Artifact is a nice showcase for April. Introduction of Leatherhead, that was a good one. Finishing the Notes of the Underground storyline in Season 1 with Return to the Underground. You know, that was fine. Juntlantis, I still think that's the worst episode. Again, all these I had to watch, but I would say Juntlantis, Rogue in the House, probably more so Part 1, because Part 2 was fun. Part 1, the only thing in Part 1 was probably the introduction of the delusional Zod type of character. Probably the most interesting part of that. So, probably like I would say Juntlantis, The Return of Nano, and Rogue... What was it called again? Rogue in the House Part 1. Probably my least favorite. But I can still watch them. If I had to pick one episode that was my favorite, that'd be tough. So yeah, the Turtles in Space, Big Brawl, and... You know, the Big Brawl is probably my favorite arc. Then... City of War, Turtles in Space. It's worth a watch just for those 3 arcs. And the rest of the season, it's fine to watch as well. There's not one show I can think of where every episode is 10 out of 10. Even some of my favorite... I love the X-Files. I love many of the early seasons. Not every one of those episodes was 10 out of 10, but I love the X-Files. Same with this, so... Worthy show. Deserves a lot more credit. Nickelodeon, get off your fucking fat ass and do something with this show, please. Is that okay? Or is that against the fucking law? Put it on DVD and Blu-ray so people can actually see and watch it and not have to hone in on YouTube videos that might be taken down in a month or a year or a day. This show deserves so much more credit, so much more merit, so much more worth. with the way it handles his action, the way at times it handles the stakes being serious, and it handles the characters respectfully. Is that why? Because it handles the characters respectfully? Is that why it ain't good enough? You know, I just don't understand. Never will. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We will see you guys later. Bye-bye.